Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So in today's video we are going to be talking about those 3 fatal combinations that can kill your succulent. Now guys, this completely depends upon your environment. When I'm talking about these 3 fatal combinations, not everyone is going to have that. This video is especially for people who are closer to the coastal area, because high amount of humidity is something that does not go very well with succulents because they prefer a very dry environment. Apart from that, the heat is also another reason, because people who are closer to the ocean or closer to the coastal area, the temperatures tend to rise a lot, especially during the summers, and that's when a lot of the succulents tend to die. So a combination of high humidity and a combination of high heat. Now humidity can stay throughout the year for people who are closer to the coastal area. For me, in my city, the humidity tends to increase only during the monsoon season. During the summers and winters, the humidity level is very, very low, around 50 to 51%. But for people who are closer to the coastal area, the humidity tends to stay constant throughout the year. So that is one of the issue what you are going to face. Apart from that, apart from heat and humidity, another important factor is the amount of moisture. The amount of moisture that tends to stay in the soil is also fatal for your succulents. The longer it takes for the succulent soil to dry, the much higher risk your succulent is at getting rotted. So you can imagine if you are from a place wherein you are very close to the coastal area, you are using coco peat and you are using a plastic container. You can imagine coco peat and the plastic container both will tend to retain moisture. Rest of the things will be taken care by nature in order to kill your succulents. One is because of the heat. The heat is going to be too much. Then there is going to be a high amount of humidity. Moisture, humidity and heat, these are the 3 fatal combinations in which your succulents will not thrive. They will die off. Now, if you are from a place where it's dry, it's cooler, it is going to work out really well. For a lot of people who are from a cooler and dry environment, especially people who are slightly elevated above the sea level, would have an upper hand in growing succulents. Like for me, I am a perfect example because I am quite above the sea level. My environment is not very humid. It doesn't get too hot. It is a pleasant climate. Maximum during April, the month of April, the temperatures might rise up to 35 degrees Celsius. But of late, because of the cyclones in the neighboring cities, even during the month of April, the temperatures have started to reduce. But this year in April, the temperatures went down drastically. That was because of the cyclones. The temperatures that were supposed to be around 35 degrees Celsius had dropped down to 17 degrees Celsius. You can see the massive amount of drop down and fluctuation of the temperature. This was because of the cyclones. It started to rain and the temperatures from what it's supposed to be at 35 degrees Celsius happened to drop down to 17 degrees Celsius. It was one of the most coldest temperature that was recorded after a couple of years. So this year the temperature was not too much or too hot in my city. The temperatures are very, very cool and a lot of my succulents had retained their color. Apart from that, they had also got a lot of color on them because the temperatures drastically dropped down, which tend to work out really well for my succulents. Of course, I feel really bad for people who are affected with cyclones. It was a very, very tough time for them because a lot of people had to be evacuated from their houses. But this is what's happening of late because of the climate change. What was supposed to be around 35 degrees Celsius during the month of April, the temperatures dropped down to 17 degrees Celsius, which is not a very good sign because a lot of the succulents are going to have issues because they are not able to go into their complete dormancy or non-dormancy because the climate is so uncertain. So being said that, these were the 3 fatal combinations. One is heat, humidity and the moisture. So if you are from a place wherein you are having this kind of an environment, then the best option is during summers especially, you can move your succulents indoor under a grow light. But that is not all about it. You also have to check about the soil mix because as I've said this earlier as well, when you move your succulents indoor, the rate of your soil drying is going to be much slow as compared to what it is outside. So you have to ensure that you make a soil mix that is loose, porous, well draining and tends to dry much faster. Also, what I would suggest is, now this is what I have been doing. I'm not very sure about you guys because a lot of people love planters. They love succulents, but they also love their planters. So they go personally and purchase beautiful planters But a lot of these planters are either made out of ceramic or are made out of plastic. A lot of them are made out of ceramic because ceramic pots are very attractive. But guys, you need to understand what's the point of keeping a plant in a planter that it doesn't suit a lot, especially if you are from a very hot environment. The ceramic pot will get heated very fast, and that heat can be transferred onto the soil, and then the soil inside the pot also tends to get heated. Remember, we have spoken about this, the roots, if they tend to get heated, they will not survive for too long. So you have to be extremely careful. You have so many options of earthen pots. There are beautiful terracotta pots. I know they are slightly expensive compared to the ceramic pots. Terracotta pots are very expensive, but that is the only option you can do, because if you're going to buy, you know, a reasonable price ceramic pot, but if it doesn't tend to work out, because a lot of people who keep the succulents in morning direct sunlight, for some people even the 9 a.m. or the 10 a.m. Sun is very strong, because I was talking to someone some days back and the person told me that the temperatures are around 35 degrees Celsius at 8 a.m. in the morning. So you can imagine, if you're going to keep your ceramic pot or a plastic pot in full direct sunlight wherein the temperatures are around 35 degrees Celsius, the sun is going to heat up the ceramic pot, it is going to heat up the plastic pot, all the heat will be transferred inside, and when the heat is transferred inside, the heat cannot be released. The only option is the heat will start to come up, but inside all of the roots are going to get cooked and the succulent will start to die. Because majority of the people whom I've seen growing succulents in a warmer environment, I've seen most of them tend to use plastic containers, especially the black ones. Remember, black tends to absorb heat. It is going to get heated double the time what it has to get heated if it has the color black on it. Because I've seen a lot of people struggle with succulents, but then at the end of the day, when I see their plastic containers with black color, and then that is going to be totally bad. Concrete pots are the best option. You can even mist the concrete pots if they tend to get heated. They do not get heated up a lot, especially in the morning direct sunlight, which is very mild. They might get slightly warm, but they're not going to be very hot. But immediately once they are in indirect bright light, the concrete tends to cool down much faster compared to plastic or ceramic pot. This is what I have seen. This is from my experience, because I would say out of 100%, let's say around 85% to 90% of my pots are earthen pots, be it a papercrete pot, be it a clay pot or a concrete pot. I don't have terracotta pots because I usually tend to make my own pots. So all of my pots are earthen pots and they do not get heated up much. Apart from that, my temperatures do not rise that high wherein my concrete pots will get heated. At times they might get slightly warm during the summers, but not like extreme hot wherein the succulents are getting damaged. So all I can say at the end of the day to summarize this is there are three important fatal combinations, which is heat, the moisture, amount of moisture, and the humidity. Also, if you're using coco peat in your soil mix, the soil mix will stay moist for a longer period of time, and when it comes in contact with heat, the coco peat will start getting heated because it already has water and moisture in it. So the coco peat will get heated, and then that is going to transfer the heat to the roots. So be extremely careful if you are from such environment. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.